Well, Bill, Kimberly, thank you so much for inviting me into your home this evening. And what I would like to do is, with your permission, is just take a few minutes and share with you what I do to market property. And hopefully at the end of that time, you'll make a decision on whether or not you want to hire me to market your property. I'm just here presenting my resume, sharing with you what I do, and I'm actually here on a job interview. And if you'd like to hire me to market your property, I think that'd be great. Before we get started, though, let me ask you, are you the only two on the deed, or are there others that are on the deed?
No, it's just us.
Just two, great. I always need to ask that because sometimes there's a third person that needs to be in the presentation that we didn't know about until after it was over. So,
now, we do have a mortgage, if that's what you mean.
no, that's fine.
Okay.
No, that's
but
fine.
It's just the two of us on the deed.
That's great. I went by and took a picture of the house earlier today. It's a very charming house. And
Well,
I
thank you.
prepared this marketability proposal specifically for you. You know, there are probably some questions in the back of your mind.
When did you take that
had.
picture? That's a great picture.
Well, it was about 2 o'clock this afternoon. I hope you enjoy that. As a matter of fact, I'm going to leave that with you. That's a gift from me.
Thank you.
But there are probably some thoughts that are on the top of your mind when you think about selling a house. For instance, the service you're going to receive. You're probably wondering the level of service. And
Absolutely.
can I provide that level that you anticipate? The second, you'd probably like to have some closings without any surprises.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I've had those.
Let me ask you another question. Would you like someone who will listen to you?
Definitely.
Yeah, that's important. And someone who represents your interest. And you're probably wondering, gee, are we going to have success on our next move? So we just thought that maybe those are some of the questions on the top of your mind, and there'll be some other questions as we go along. And feel free to stop me anytime while we're in this. Now, also, what I found out, and maybe you're like other folks that I've met, that you're probably looking for somebody that's pretty experienced.
Absolutely.
Someone that delivers a level of service excellence that's maybe above normal.
Yes.
Okay. How about somebody that works with you exclusively?
Oh, well, sure.
Definitely.
Okay. Just want to be sure. Somebody that delivers a level of excitement. Yeah. Isn't that fun?
Necessary.
Yeah. Have somebody that's
Necessary.
upbeat. Yeah. Helpful. Yeah. How about somebody that is exceptional in all they do compared to the others that are out in the marketplace?
That's who we're looking for,
Yeah.
obviously.
We mentioned before not only being experienced, but also having a level of expertise in that experience. And then somebody who maybe will deliver above the norm, be extraordinary in the level of that delivery.
All of these
All right.
qualities.
Well, I hope that as we go through here, you'll see this in what I have to offer. By the way, where are you moving to?
Oh, we're just moving across town.
Great. Are you working with anyone yet in the purchase of that house?
Not yet, and we haven't really started looking. We've been on the internet, and we've looked at,
If-
the neighborhood.
If I can help you with that and it doesn't cost you anything, could I help you do that?
We'll see.
Okay, great. I have the ability to do that. Whether you hire me to market your property or not, I can certainly help you on the other end.
Okay.
And one doesn't have to tie to the other.
Oh,
So I want to let you know that. There is a difference between an agent and an executive.
And what is the difference?
Well, the difference is for sale or sold. And I think as we go through that, that's just kind of a
that's
little...
cute.
This is a little bit about me. I've been around about 30 years in the business. 80%, 87% of all the property I've marketed is sold. I haven't been successful 100%, but I'm going to be honest with you. Some of them haven't sold. I do try to provide total and complete customer satisfaction even in difficult transactions. And now I operate from something that most people don't, which is a mission, vision, and guiding principle business plan. I'm always ready, but I'm never presumptive. Here's my mission statement. My mission is to provide a living for my family, save for the future, and financial security upon my retirement. I will adhere to my spiritual beliefs without compromise. I will do what is right over what is expedient in all cases. It is my desire to serve my customers by the most ethical and honest means possible. I will be a team player and attempt to contribute to the benefit and welfare of the people with whom I associate. I will do my utmost to elevate the profession of realtor above all other professions. And now this is my vision statement. My vision is to achieve the goals outlined in my 6 personal objectives. Now those are personal, so therefore I won't be sharing them with you. But I want you to know that I'm goal-oriented. It is my desire to see clearly where I'm headed and to follow a roadmap to attain my goals. I will pursue honest and ethical ways to achieve all activities necessary to obtain my long-term objectives, and I will execute daily those activities. Now, this includes you. My objectives include you. Okay, I just want you to... Now, I will contribute to the community, expecting nothing in return, and I'll do what is ethical and morally right without compromise, even if I suffer financially. I want you to know that if I have to leave money on the table at the closing, I will. I'll walk away.
So you will cut your commission?
No, I won't do that.
Oh.
But that's nice of you to ask, but I won't do that. And I think you'll see when I get through why I won't do that. Because, let me ask you a question. If you're thinking about having brain surgery,
I want the best.
Okay,
I got
okay, you got it?
yeah.
All right, you got it? You could go to Duke and have the right guy do it, or you could get the intern fresh out of school, right?
That's
Both can do the surgery. But you'll also want the best and pay for the best, without a shadow of a doubt. And so, but I appreciate you asking. There's nothing wrong with that. There are 3 things we're going to cover. I asked you about the buying part of it. That's only if you want me to help you on the buying side later on.
Okay.
But we're just going to cover these 3 areas. First is selling. And this is just going to give you a quick overview of what's involved in the selling of a house. How long ago did you buy this one?
You've had it, what, about 4 years?
4 years.
4 years. So you sort of remember what you went through when you bought it? Yeah. Okay. Well, I just want to review those quickly. Then I know this is where you want to go. That's right into pricing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we've been on the internet, so we've got some thoughts.
Good. Wonderful, wonderful. And then the last thing is how you're going to stage the house. Now, let me share with you, this is how I would want to operate with you all if you hire me. First of all, I'm going to do everything I can to market the property outside the property lines, but I would like you all to do everything you can to market the property inside the property lines.
What do you mean by that?
I'll show you. We'll get to that in just a minute. All right, let's take a look about it on the selling side. Now, first of all, I need to familiarize myself with the property. I don't know that much about it. So I'm going to start to ask a lot of questions in a couple of minutes, and I hope that's okay.
Sure.
I don't want to try to market something I don't understand. And so if you decide that you want me, then we're going to spend some time together, because I need to really understand this so that I can market it efficiently and effectively. The next thing is I need to assemble some information. By the way, let me ask you a question here. When you drove up to the property 4 years ago, what was it that struck you about this property?
Well, I know what it was for me, wasn't it?
The landscaping that was just fabulous. The cleanliness is bright. It looked comfortable. It looked like a home that we would want to have.
When you pulled up by the curb, what was it that struck you first?
The door, the front door.
What? What about it?
I just loved it. I liked the style of the door. I liked the way the porch.
It's very ornate. I love the glass, and it's got the beveling on the glass. It's very pretty as it's done that.
Well, I'm kind of a gardener, and I liked all the flowers and the way the front porch was laid out. It was really pretty.
Was there a particular room in the house that you fell in love with?
Family room.
Why is
Kitchen.
that? Okay, all right. Well, why was that?
That is the center. It's our home. We gather there. We spend a lot of time there. And of course the kitchen. We spend a lot of time in the kitchen preparing meals, and it's the heart of the home.
Mm-hmm. And Bill, was there a particular room in the house that...
It was definitely the kitchen.
Was it the kitchen
Yeah.
too?
You know, I really like to cook, and the kitchen was probably the most important thing.
If you want to describe the kitchen to me, let's say I've never seen it before,
Okay.
how would you describe it?
It is what I would call a gourmet kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
It's designed for someone who cooks and enjoys cooking. It's laid out properly. It has the right appliances in it. And my personal favorite, the cabinets are at 36 inches, or the countertops are at 36.
Oh, you're tall, and therefore you like it. Both of you are. You like the tall, yeah.
Yeah, I hate bending over.
The reason I'm asking the questions is, if you decide to hire me, I want to be sure that when I write your ads up, that includes those issues you just talked about. That's very important. I'm making notes right now on what you're telling me. Gourmet kitchen, 36-inch cabinets. You were talking about the landscaping and how wonderful it is and how you like to mess in the yard. And the den, you thought it was gorgeous. What was it about the den that you liked?
Open, spacious. It was
Airy. The large windows and the bay windows in the back. Yeah, they really bring the light in. Yeah, you mentioned how it sparkled when you first saw it. And so, you see, those are, this is not going to read, 4 bedrooms, 3 baths on a cul-de-sac. My ads would be very specific. Matter of fact, I have a brochure that I'm going to share with you in a minute on how I market properties, which I think you like. Another thing I want to know is, why are you selling?
I think we've kind of outgrown this house, and we have an opportunity, I think, in this market to move up.
Okay.
If we can find the buyer at the price we're looking for in this house, then I think we're ready to get the next level, if you will.
Yeah, that's great. How soon would you like to move?
how quick, as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Really want to get out of it? Yeah, if you can, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, prices are starting to work their way up again.
I'd like
Have you
to.
noticed that? We bought them in the market and how they're starting. So if we're going to talk about pricing in a minute, but just be sensitive to timing, okay? And we'll talk about that in greater detail. What are some of your objectives in selling?
Well, we want to maximize our return on the house.
Well, I want you to, too.
obviously.
Yeah.
And we want to be out of here And I guess it's kind of silly, but I want to have the right buyer.
Oh, yes.
You know, we've got a lot
Sure.
of
Neighbors, close
Yes.
neighbors, want to be sure
Yeah.
it's the right person that comes in. Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Absolutely.
I want to make sure that, it's kind of silly, but the person that we sell this house to will take care of the house like we do.
And appreciate it as much as we have.
Mhm. Is there anything else you'd like to add to that?
No, not this time.
Okay,
Thank
great.
you.
I'm going to talk a little bit about the process of selling. In addition to that, I want to also begin to formulate a marketing plan. I don't come in with a pre-prepared marketing plan like some agents do in the marketplace. I think it's very important that as we begin to talk, that we formulate, just like what you gave me, the information you gave me, I'm now thinking about how would I formulate a marketing plan to do just what you're talking about. And if you're going to invite, are you inviting others in to talk to you, or am I the only one?
No, we're going to ask.
Okay,
others.
so be sure that you see the difference, okay, as we begin to go on. Now, this is what's involved in the sale of a house.
Oh, my.
Yeah.
I thought you just put the sign out there and
No, it's a little bit more than that. These are all the things that I do, and this is why you compensate me. And you asked me if I cut my commission. Absolutely not, because this is a lot of work.
Well, it looks like you just put the sign out there and then I get a buyer.
No, I actually work through each of these entities as it comes along. You know, when we get the offer, then we'll take a look and be sure the earnest money deposit is high enough. I'll be in the middle of negotiations with you. I'll help you write the contract. You know, on the inspections, if there's an issue on the mechanical, we'll work that out together. If there's a structural issue, let's say a corner settled or something like that, and we didn't notice it, but an inspector did, we'll work. So these are the areas that I will be there helping you work through. You won't have to worry about any of these.
Okay.
There may be some concerns, but you don't have to worry about them because I'll be helping you work through those. Any questions on any of these?
I'm sure we'll have them right now. It's kind of
Okay, because yeah, it is. It really is. Now, there are some inspections that will be done. The buyer will probably require a mechanical inspection, a structural inspection, and a pest inspection. But in addition to that, the buyer's going to walk through the house and turn things on and off just to be sure they work. And even though you probably have everything working in the house, they may uncover something that, and it might be a minor issue, but that will need to be fixed before we close on the property.
Well, should we be here for that?
For the walkthrough, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, so you'll know.
Okay.
Yeah. Under market prep, you know, and the reason I'm mentioning this to you now is that later in the presentation we're going to talk about staging the house, right? Okay. You asked about marketing it inside the property lines.
Right.
Well, I call that staging. Maybe you know what that means, but we're going to talk about that in quite a bit of detail. But buyers can't afford to make repairs or decorate right now. With the cost of gas being what it is and inflation starting to work on it, when people come into the house, they may just be able to get in, just barely. Okay? They don't have a lot of reserve cash. So I just want to mention that they can't afford to make repairs. So we've got to be sure the house is in move-in condition. And we're going to go in detail on that.
They're going to want to make sure that I spend the money on all that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Yeah, but we're trying to get that back.
I got that figured
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
Okay.
all right. And then the buyers overestimate the cost of repairs and decorating. And sometimes, if we don't stage the house, they'll come and look at this and say, well, I really love the house, but it's going to cost me $5,000 to fix stuff. I don't have extra cash. Whereas it may not cost that. Okay?
Sure.
Or, because it's going to cost that much, they may drop the price on it too much. And I don't want that. When we come to terms on the price, we want to make the margin as narrow as we possibly can, all right? You know, a lot of people say, well, we can always come down on the price. Well, I'd rather have the margin be right in there close where you don't even have to budge if you don't have to, all right? And the reason is you want to get out in a short period of time. By the way, let me ask you a question. How much are your monthly payments right now, including utilities?
Oh, you probably know that. Is it 12?
Right around there.
Yeah, it's about 1,200.
By 1,200?
Well, yeah.
And that includes the utilities too? Is it
No,
1,000 a month plus the 200
No,
utilities?
it's about 1,800.
18.
Oh, everything's about
Everything,
18. Okay. So you see, the longer the house is on the market, that's money you won't get back. Say, for instance, if it's on the market for 2 months, that's $3,600 you don't get back. But if it's on the market for 3 months, that's 3 to 24. That's $5,400 you won't get back. So what we want to do is be sure that that short time you're talking about does that so that it doesn't eat into your net. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Okay. All right, and then the next one here, agents always remember the house the way it was when they first see it, and that's why we're going to talk about staging. Before we even let the house be shown, we want to be sure it's staged right.
What do you mean agents remember?
Well, let's say I'm showing a buyer the house, right? I'll show the house, and let's say you haven't fixed it up yet and stage it. I'm going to remember it that way.
So the agent won't bring
Yeah,
anybody.
even though now you go and fixed it up, right? But how do they remember it? They remember it the way they saw it,
Sure.
not the way you have it fixed. So I think if you decide to hire me, the important thing as we work through this partnership is that we be sure that we're staging it before we start to bring people into it.
Okay.
Okay? All right.
We got a lot of work to do.
Yes, we do.
Well, when we get through this, we'll see how much there is. Now, I'm going to show you a comprehensive competitive market analysis, and what this is I've taken a 5-mile radius around the property, and I have all houses that have sold that have the same floor plan, square footage, same lot size, and same amenities like two-car garage and so on and so on. And in addition to that, I'll be putting a sign up. That's what you talked about earlier. I'll be putting in what we call the multiple listing service. That allows other agents to bring buyers by, because they have a write-up on that. But I'm going to be on the internet quite a bit. And I think you said you've already gone on the internet.
Everybody goes.
And I think that's the key to it, is how can I expose this internationally?
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you the different internet sites I use. And of course, my office is a little unique than most offices out here. I'm going to get other top agents or executives in my company who want to come out and take a look at the house, because they might give me an idea or two that I've overlooked. See, I may not be the brightest, but I'm smart enough to bring other people in that are good to look at that. Also, I have this color property brochure, and it's right over here. And this brochure, as you can see, it's printed on both sides. It's high quality, 80-pound paper. It has a UV shine on it, and I'm going to print up about 100 of these. Now, what I want to do is give you about 20, and then I'm going to take the other 80 and give them out to not only the neighbors, but my spheres of influence. See,
what do you expect us to do with ours?
Oh, that's in case somebody comes by and sees the house and want to take a brochure with them?
Okay.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
I didn't necessarily want to go.
No, you don't do anything with them. No, that's up to me.
Okay.
I'll just give you some here to have, but what I'm going to say, I'm going to run off 100 of these. They're high quality, they're very expensive, but I'll give you 20, and they're here for the house. Or if you know somebody at church or some of the other places that you can distribute there, but I'm going to be sure that I give them out to my sphere of influence and the others. But let me ask you a question. Do you mind if I hold the house open?
You're going to have to give us notice. I mean,
I'll do that. I just need permission to do that if it's okay with you.
Sure.
We
Think that'd be all right?
We got a lot of work to do.
Real quick.
Well, we're not going to open it until
Okay.
it's got to be staged, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But I just want to ask, not everybody wants that.
Oh, I don't mind.
Okay, but if it's okay,
Sure.
all right, great.
I mean, that's how we looked at this house when we bought it.
Okay.
It was an open house.
All right. And then alternative financing plans. I don't think we're going to need any of that, but I mentioned that I'm well versed in financing, and if they need an alternative financing plan, we'll find that for the buyer. Okay. Now, in addition to that, I'm going to also mention your house to existing buyers that are already in the marketplace. There are friends of mine that are in real estate that have buyers, and I'll be giving them a contact call. I'll be giving them one of those, see where I say best agents? I kind of blend those two together. I never want to leave out the term best agent, because they're great agents in other companies. And so I want you to know that I cooperate very closely with the best agents in the marketplace. And so they will know about this house. They'll know about this house once you decide to market it, okay? And now, I mentioned the neighbors. I'm going to notify them. My centers of influence, I mentioned that. We're also on television and print media, and I'll show you the television commercials. And then international marketing, that's where I'm on the internet. I'm going to show you where I am on that. And then I'm going to talk a little about a home warranty. These are the areas that I want to cover. Let's first of all take a look at the TV commercials. Now, if you'd like to take a look at one of these, I'll go ahead and play one of them for you now.
Sure.
All right.
What's the genie one?
Sweet! You have one more wish. Make it a good one.
I want a real estate agent that doesn't disappear after listing my home.
That's a tough one.
You can wish for a dream agent, or you can hire an executive. Service, another executive advantage. To find out more, visit realtyexecutives.com.
You did say cute chick.
It is a cute commercial, and it's a lot of people see that and they say, "Oh, so that's part of your company." But that's a sample of one of our commercials on television, and I just wanted to share that with you. The other three commercials are there. The other two are there out of the three that are there, and if you want to take a look at them later, we certainly can do that. I'm also signed up with Realtor.com, and I do something that's a little bit different than most agents in the marketplace. I ensure that there are 6 photos of your house that are being marketed on Realtor.com. A lot of agents don't want to pay the extra money, and they'll put one photo. But you see this last bullet down here? I rise above the norm in that by placing 6 photos of your house, you are attracting 300 more hits on the site. And you probably did that when you were looking, right?
If it doesn't have
you saw the one photo, you went along and went to the one, yeah, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Okay, I want you to know that I do that. But you were confirming a lot of these numbers. Let me share this with you. Over 80% of all buyers go online before surfacing in the market. You've already told me you've done that. So you're top of that, like in that majority. Some buyers go online up to 9 months prior to contacting a realtor. And you've been on quite a while.
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. And more buyers contact a realtor than seek a for sale by owner in hunting for a house.
I want a professional involved in this transaction.
Wonderful. And 75% of all people looking for property come to Realtor.com first. There are other ones out there. There's Trulia and there's Google and there's others, but 75% come to Realtor. And I want to be where the majority of the buyers are coming
Sure.
to. See what I'm saying? So, oh, by the way, let me ask you a question. If you decide to hire me, would you kind of show me where I need to stand to shoot the pictures? Because, you know the house intimately, and you can say, Ken, if you stand over
Yeah.
here and shoot this room, will you do that for me? Great. Okay. These are the websites. I've got a dozen listed on here. There are actually 26 different websites, and I ran out of room on the page. I guess I could do 2 pages. But I can click on any one of these, and I can take you immediately to show you how that particular website shows the house.
But our property would be there
On every one of these.
and searchable.
Yes,
so
every one of
just
these.
like the ones I
And that's the key you need to ask when the other person comes in that you want to interview, is you need to say, by the way, how many websites are you using? Because remember, the greater the level of exposure, the greater the chance of
Well,
sale.
we had one person in, and they used one, theirs.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice. Yeah.
Well, evidently it's not nice.
Now, I want to talk to you about a warranty. I think it's important that you are covered against any major exposure while you're marketing the property. For instance, if the air conditioner quit, I'd hate to have to pay $1,500 to get the compressor fixed.
We have insurance on the house.
But the homeowner's insurance doesn't cover that. That's in case fire, you have a tree go through the roof or something like that. We're talking about, if your stove quit, does your homeowner's insurance cover the stove? No. What if you have a pipe burst,
Right.
right? And you have to have the plumbing replaced because the pipe burst. Homeowner's insurance doesn't cover, they'll cover the wall getting fixed because of the damage of the water, but they're not going to cover the pipe getting fixed. Okay. Same thing with the heating and air system and so on. So now let me tell you why it's important you consider this. You may not know this, but homes with home warranties actually sell faster. Did you know that?
Why?
All right, let me ask you a question. You know that house you're thinking about buying? You haven't found it yet, but you're thinking about buying? Let's say there are 2 of them side by side. They're almost identical, right? Same price, $250,000. One of them has a home warranty on it and one doesn't. You like them both the same. Which one would you buy?
The one with the home warranty.
Why is that?
Well, because,
As you had stated,
yeah,
a leak or a
Yeah. You don't want to have a major expense
No.
for 6 months in the house, right?
Right.
All right, now, let's pretend I'm the seller of the house next door. And I don't want to put a home warranty on it.
well, I would wonder why.
That's all right. But I want to sell my house. What do I need to do to entice you to buy my house?
Without the warranty?
Without the warranty.
Oh, you're going to have to convince me there's nothing wrong with that house.
All right, and let's say that even after saying everything, you're not fully convinced. What can I do to entice you to buy my house over the other one with the warranty on it?
Lower the price?
How much?
Probably the cost of the warranty. Where this is going.
Would be a minimum.
Yes.
Yeah, a couple grand.
Or maybe a couple grand, right? Well, the warranty's not much. It's $500.
Yeah.
All right, so it's not much. It's only $500. But did you see how it helps you to market the property?
Sure.
Number one, it gives you peace of mind while we're marketing the property. But number two is it gives peace of mind of the buyer coming in also. So what you told me is that it sold faster. By the way, which one sold for more money?
Well, the one with the
With
warranty.
the
All right, there you go. All right, so you see, that's why you want to know why. All right, and
Now, that's something we buy, correct? As the
Yes.
seller of this house. we
but you only
buy-
pay for it when it closes. If for instance, you decide to hire me, and we end up going the full marketability period, and it doesn't sell, you're still covered for free.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, now I don't think that's going to happen, but that's
Oh, okay.
that's going all the way out to the end.
How long, so it's a 6-month warranty?
It's a year for the buyer and 6 months for the seller.
Okay.
Okay.
But we'll have it household.
Okay.
I would think. Any questions on this?
No, I
Okay.
didn't understand
All right.
that stuff.
Now, I want to talk about negotiating a little bit. Let me ask you a question. Have you guys ever bought a car from a dealer?
What a nightmare.
It's awful.
I always make her do all the talking and I just sit there and lean back. I hate it.
Would it have been a benefit to have hired somebody to be in the middle?
Absolutely.
In fact, we've done that. We've hired someone to go in
Okay.
as a, I think he was called a broker And he put them on the car. I didn't want to go in the room.
Yeah, I don't either. You know, that's what's wonderful about hiring somebody like me is you're having that person in the gap between you and the buyer. See, the buyer's coming in, the buyer's very nervous. You know, and you too could probably put the transaction together, but it might not be just right. You really need to have somebody in the middle that understands negotiations and is fighting for you and your position. Okay. Comment, Bill?
I've always felt like there's a dollar value to stress. And if I am willing to pay X number of dollars to reduce stress by...
And that's what you'd be hiring me for, is to reduce that stress level. All right. We have a page on that just to talk about that because a lot of people don't realize that.
It's important.
And now, we all have the same objectives. I do too. I want to get you maximum values because you remember, I'm on commission. We talked about that. So the higher your sales price, the more I get paid. So I'm striving to get you the top price that I possibly can. It's in my benefit to do that, just like it's in your benefit. So we have a mutual objective here. Also, I'd like to get my money early. So do you. And the third one is, we both want to eliminate and avoid any difficulties that are out there. I just want to let you know we're both on the same page here, and we're both on the same team. We're really working together as a partnership in this relationship because we both have these same objectives.
Well, I know we're going to be paying you a lot of money.
Yes.
And, you know, I guess I'd like to talk about that at some point.
We're going to get to that in just a minute. We're going to. By the way, we talked about this earlier, the difference between for sale and sold is hopefully working with me. All right, now pricing is where you want to go. That's where we are now. I just want to let you know that you'll set the price. I won't.
Oh.
Okay.
Okay, I'll give you a lot of information, but you'll set the price. Okay?
Okay, but you'll help us with that.
Yeah, but
Okay.
by providing information.
Okay.
No, if you come to me and say, well, what do you think? I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, okay.
All right? Because it's not right for me to do that.
Okay.
All right. Now, you may have another broker out there say, oh, I can get you $10,000 more than Ken thought you could get. If they did that, what would you think?
Well, I might be interested,
Mm-hmm.
but I would
why
also...
so much more?
Yeah, especially when they have the same data I have, and you can see what properties are actually selling for, and you've already been online, and you know what properties are selling for.
Mm-hmm.
All right?
Well,
Remember that BMW we talked about?
You know, I absolutely do not want to be in a position where I have to reduce the price because we've bought houses before, and once someone starts dropping the price, there's something wrong.
So we need
with
to
the
set it
house.
right.
Yeah.
Need to set it right. But the buyer will determine the value, just like you were talking about.
Okay.
And then, of course, the lender is going to validate that and whether or not they want to loan the money. All right. Let me talk to you about this graph here. This graph's a little difficult to understand, so let me just take a couple of minutes to explain what it is. The FMV over here stands for fair market value.
Okay.
What that means, if I went out and took two appraisals on your house and averaged them together, that would be the fair market value. All right? So you've had two appraisals done on the house. If we put the house on the market, based on the graph, only half of the available buyers, these are the buyers, only half of the available buyers would look at it.
So half are looking for a super deal, and the other...
No, that's not a super deal. That's you going retail. They're buying the house retail.
Okay.
That's the real worth.
Okay.
Let's say the house is worth $250,000. We'll just make a number up. Let's say it's worth $250,000. Two appraisals came in, one at $245,000, one at $255,000. We averaged them together. We came up with $250,000.
Gotcha.
That's that, and the appraiser goes out and looks at all the properties that have sold, and he compares all the bedrooms and the bathrooms and the floor plans and the square footage and the lot size and the location. And
Well, we put a
all
lot
that.
into this house.
I understand, but all I'm saying is the appraiser's done that, and he comes up with two. Now, only half the buyers want to look at it. They qualify. Why's that?
Well,
I don't know. Why?
You not understand? All right,
Well,
all right.
we priced it right.
You guys are thinking about going out and buying, right?
Right.
right.
What kind of house do you want?
Well, it's the same as this house, same floor
Yes.
plan, just a little bigger and
Okay.
a little
Bigger, yeah, definitely.
nicer backyard.
All right. Now let's
Bigger yard.
pretend yours is a one-story, beautiful ranch, but let's pretend you have a two-story house, and let's pretend I'm a buyer that qualifies to buy, but I'm 68, my knees are bad,
Okay.
and you don't have an elevator.
Right.
You're not going to even look.
No.
No, see,
No.
but I qualify to buy. You see, but that's one of them. All right. Another example: beautiful one-story house, right? But you're on a through street, not a cul-de-sac, and your backyard's not fenced, and I've got two youngsters, 1 4 and 1 5. It's priced right, but Sorry, I'm not interested. Show me one that's on the cul-de-sac that's got a fence. See what I'm saying? There are people out there that even though they qualify to buy,
Sure.
they
They're not gonna
they opt out.
Our
Okay?
house doesn't qualify for them.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. So I want you to know, a lot of sellers think what you thought, which is, wow, if I put it on the market for fair market value, FMV, fair market value, well, I'll have everybody in the world coming to it.
Right.
No, only half. Now look what happens when you price it up. Let's go up 10%. Let's add $25,000 onto that. So now it's on the market for $275,000. Notice that price there? That means we lost 25% more of the buyers. We lost half of them here, and then we lost another half.
I see.
So let's say you
You're not
had...
even going to look at it?
No, they won't even look at it. So what's happened here, that as you work the price up, the buyer pool gets smaller. That's what this graph is to show you. That as you work the price up here, the buyer pool gets smaller and smaller. You notice up here, it ends up being 1%. But that's nothing. That means you don't have any buyers. What if there were 10 buyers in the marketplace, Kimberly? If there were 10 buyers, here at 15% over, you've taken away 9 of them.
Right.
You've only got one buyer left. Well, if you had only one buyer looking at your house, how big of a hurry are they to make an offer?
Not very.
No, not very, right. And are they going to offer full price? No, because they know there's no competition out there. You see, we have to be very sensitive to what's going on in the marketplace. Now, let me show you the competitive market analysis here. Okay, here's the competitive market analysis over here.
Now, this is our house compared to...
Everybody else,
Okay.
all right, within a 5-mile radius, all right? And I did that for the last 90 days, and the reason I did it only 90 days instead of 6 months is we have had some depreciation in the market, so I want to show you what's actually selling right now, what's closing. I don't want to...
Okay.
I don't want to go outside of that, all right? All right.
Okay.
Now, if you want me to go outside of that, I will, but right now, I'm trying to stay with reality. All right. Now, looking at houses around the market, it looks like the minimum sales price has been $245, and the highest has been $260, based on your type of house, the lot, the floor plan, the garage, the amenities, and so on. So it looks like the range is between $245 and $260.
Well, we put a lot into that.
I understand that.
Yeah.
But you've also been online. Let me ask you a question. If I'm a buyer coming in the marketplace, and I'm looking at two houses, one person put a little bit more into it than the other one, which one am I going to lean towards?
Well, probably the nicer of the two.
That's right. Am I going to pay more for it?
Depends on what they put
Maybe
into it.
not, unless they've added a room
They would
or
have to
something
have
like
done a
that.
lot, because I could do the same
Yeah.
fix-up.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is that what they do is they come in, and what that does is it helps your house to be more attractive, Kimberly, to the buyer. But it doesn't necessarily mean they'll pay more money for it.
Right.
Because they know what that property range is, see, and what we're talking about. Now, between the 245 and the 260, where would you like to think about it?
Well, I'd like to see it at 260, but what you're telling me is it may not move it.
Well, remember now, you want to do what?
I want
You want to get out in a hurry.
Right.
All right, so what we're looking for is a trigger point, right? And what I mean by a trigger point is that's when the buyers begin to trigger an offer. See what I'm saying? You put it up at the 260 and then they wait a while because they think you're going to do what? Come down.
Come
But
down.
you're paying $1,800 a month,
Right.
right?
Right.
So we don't want to have another out-of-pocket, got to write another
I'm
check.
going to lower the price by $1,800.
You could do that. You could come in at take $2,000 off of it, so you come in instead of 260, you come in at 258, and boom, you
Yeah.
got the same money. See what I'm talking about?
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
And that explains the other side of the graph.
Yes. If you lower it, guess what happens? More buyers come to the marketplace. Matter of fact, I'll make you an offer if you do this.
No.
Really?
Come down 20%, and I'm ready to jump in there and make an offer.
Well, we may do...
You whack 50 grand off of it, and I'm in there.
Okay, we got to price this right.
But you see what we're talking about?
Yeah, we're going to need your help to price this right.
Well, what I've shown you here, you're doing the right thing. And I just, with the information that you've got and with the time you need to be in the market, if you're talking in that range you're talking about, that's fine. Now, if you want to pull it down a little bit more, just to make the urgency there for it, that's fine. You can go a little bit lower, because you have to weigh that against the monthly payment.
Right.
Right now, your property is taking about 144 days to sell.
Is that called, what is that? Is that time on market?
Yeah. Time on days on the market, and I've done the analysis, and here's a printout of the analysis here that I've got showing all the days on the market, all right? And you notice that each one of those, here's one that went to 140 days, here's one for 148, here's one for 155, here's one for 138. You can see these are all the days on the market. They added up to about, when you averaged them, about 144 days on the market.
It certainly has changed.
So it's stretched out a little bit. Now, what I would like to do is, looking at this, is allow me to market your property for 144 days plus 30 more. And the reason I'm asking for an additional 30 is that that's an average. Some took longer, some took less. And I don't want to change our relationship in midstream if possible.
Now, how long do you want to?
I'd have another 30 done, make 174 days. Is that fair?
Well, I don't know. If you can't move it in a couple of months.
Well, it could be less than that, but I want to be sure. I'm going to market as hard as I can, Bill.
Okay.
All right, so the issue is not, I'm not going to back off because I've got more time. I just want to be sure that you have full marketability period.
Well, I'm one of those guys that you're going to put the sign out there.
And walk away? Not a
and
chance.
6 months from now, someone may make an offer on it.
No, that's not the way it works.
Okay.
You're going to find out that when you're going to see the physical stuff I do right away on the marketing of the property. We talked about the internet. You're going to see, I'm going to notify you as soon as every site is loaded. I'll say, go check your house out.
Okay.
Right? The brochure I was talking about,
That is.
you're going to see me drop the brochure
That's
by, and then
right.
you're going to see me disappear in the neighborhood. You know, you won't know that I'm talking about spheres of influence, but they are. And if you start to get buyer calls, that shows that they've showed it to somebody, and yes, they're interested. They want to come look at it. So you're going to find that's going to be occurring. Matter of fact, there might be another incentive we can talk about, which is, you asked me about my commission. Normally in the marketplace we charge 6 buyers to show your house before they show others, and that would be we would add 1% onto that, make it 7, and we would
I was
instead
thinking
of
about taking 1% off of that.
you can't do that, and let me tell you why. If I brought in at 5%, right, and I'm going to co-op with another company, right, because they have the buyer, how much do I give them? Do I give them
Half.
All right, that's 2.5%. But why would they show their customer this property and get 2.5% where they can show the one down the street and get 3%? So now, what if you're asking me to cooperate a full 3% on that 5? So okay, Ken, don't do the 2.5, go a full 3. Well, you just asked me to give up a third of the revenue I have to market your property.
Well, your commission's pretty high.
Yeah, but you see, on my side, I also have to give my broker part of my commission. So my commission is broken into 3 parts. If I were to pull out $3 bills out of my wallet, here's 3 bills, all right? Now, you just said, well, Ken, we want you to drop this out altogether.
Right.
That leaves me 2.
Right.
All right, I give this one to my broker. This one feeds my family. What do I do with the marketing?
Okay. You don't do the marketing.
Yeah, see what
Our
you
house
see. If you
doesn't
get
sell.
somebody, if you find a discounter out there, guess what? They still got to feed their family. They still got to pay their broker.
Yeah, there's people that.
So does your house get marketed? What do they take it out of their mouths of the kids, or do they try to convince the broker you got to give me some back?
They're the
broker
ones
isn't going to get his up.
the sign in the
Yeah.
front
Right.
yard.
Yeah.
And,
Does that make sense?
it does.
Marketing is very, very important.
So that's
Yeah,
why.
in this market, if you're not working hard at this, you're not going to sell this house. We understand that.
Very clear.
All right. So let me ask the question: do you want to provide an incentive then for the agent that has the buyer? You want to go up a little higher?
No, I don't.
I know. But thinking about it, as a marketing plan, what's 1% of $250,000? It's what, $2,500. What if that buyer comes in a month sooner? You're almost.
Well, I say
That
a
would
month.
be,
Yeah, and I keep working on that month, and I know we've worked on it 3 or 4 times. But the idea is that let's
would be perfect.
use every tool we have to do that.
Yeah, we got to get people through this house, or it isn't going to
Okay.
sell.
So let me review what we've talked about. You want to put it on the market for what price? 200 and what?
Well,
55.
255.
250. That's a good price. 255, and we're going to put it on the market for
Now
174
we're going
days.
to have to drop it, right? Because they always lowball you every time.
They can lowball, but that's a fair price.
Okay.
Based on everything we've seen here, that's very fair. If you have to give up $1,000, you wouldn't have to, I don't think.
Okay.
I think we can hold that. Okay?
Okay.
So they may think, well, we'll just make them an offer and see what they do. But you guys didn't go outside the range, so you don't have to come down. You see, the mindset is, I'm going to place it outside the range so I can come down. You didn't go outside the range. Therefore, it doesn't have to come down.
Okay.
And I won't lose my buyer.
No, because that's fair, and you know it's fair, because you've been online, you've seen what's selling. They know it's fair, they've been online, they've seen what's selling, okay? So the combination of 2 seem to work out well. Okay, so we talked about 174 days, is that okay? That's the 144
Yes.
plus the 30.
30.
All right, and we also talked about the commission being 7%, of which I'll share 4 to the, let me tell you what I'll do. If I find the buyer, I'll just drop it to 6.
Okay.
instead of you taking the
Yes,
whole
I won't take the 7. Is that fair?
That's,
Yes.
yeah, that is fair.
Okay, all right. But that's to incent the other, but you don't have to incent me.
Now, what if we use you when we buy the other house? Do we get a discount on your commission? Because then you would be getting 2 commissions from us.
I would, but you love me anyway, don't you?
I'm getting
Getting there. Listen, Bill, what do you do for a living?
Well, I'm an attorney.
Okay.
Can't you tell?
Well, all right, you're an attorney. How many times have you discounted your fee? Except for pro bono.
Not very often.
Not very often, do you? No.
No.
Because you're good at what you do.
Right.
And people know that, and they pay you for what you're worth.
Right.
I'm just asking the same thing. When was the last time you went into your doctor and said, "Doctor, will you discount the office visit?"
No, I've never done
No.
that.
You see, I want you to know that you're working with a professional. There are people out there with licenses that aren't professionals, but I want you to know that you're working with a professional.
Well, something in my profession that we always say is if you want a professional result, you hire a professional.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I
Thank you.
understand.
May I use that?
You may.
Okay, thank you.
I'm really kicking and screaming, but I'm certainly being dragged into this.
Well, it's part of it.
I think you know what you're doing.
It's part of it a business decision, and you're working through that. And so now let me talk about factors that affect value. Right now, there are a lot of other houses on the market. All right, so you're doing the right thing. I just want to confirm that what you've done is the right thing. There are a number of houses available. However, there is good mortgage money. All right, and the economy is still good no matter what the newspaper says. All right, and there are favorable terms on the mortgage money too. Even though they tightened down with all of this short selling that's been going on, and foreclosures, and with the issues with the banks that probably loaned some money to people that they should have loaned money to, and so on. Even with all that, everything is still working out well. Now, factors that don't affect value: what you pay for the house. Okay,
Right.
Right? Because the buyer doesn't care.
We've
No.
talked about that.
Yeah, buyers don't care.
We know.
And the cost to rebuild it today, because guess what builders are doing? There are actually subdivisions where the builder has discounted the house a year later after other people bought. They bought it for, say, $250,000, and now the builder is selling the same house for $230,000. Guess how they feel about trying to sell their house?
About like we feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're competing against new construction. I mean, it's a pain. And then, of course, your investment in improvements, even though you said your house is one of the nicer ones, your faucets
Yes.
and everything are probably nicer than others, that'll attract the buyer, but it doesn't necessarily improve the value. And certain types of improvements may increase value, but it depends whether it's a full room that was added on or something like that.
Well, when you help us, and I'm really wanting your help in setting this price, you've had experience with this, so you can tell us that, look, the fact that you upgraded the kitchen is going to be, you're going to be able to demand or a little bit more.
The gourmet kitchen is beautiful. That's why I think setting it at the price you did, just a little bit below the top,
Okay.
is fine.
Okay.
Right? I think that's fine. What that's going to do is attract the buyer to you sooner. What I'm trying to do is save you money on the other end.
Okay.
All right? We're trying to get you. I hope I can get a contract in 3 to 5 days. That's my hope. Might not be able
That's
to. Might not be able to, but if we got it priced right and then we stage it right, at least I'm looking ahead.
Okay.
Now you may reject me when we get to the staging part and say, no, I'm not going to do that. But we'll get there in just a minute. The expressions that do not affect the sales price, another agent said it was worth more. I think we talked about that a little bit. It's not what they think it's worth. It's what the value is worth based on what the buyer's willing to pay. We talked about your house being nicer than the others. That'll attract them better. People always offering less. We talked about that, but they don't have to if it's priced right, and you've done that. There's another item in here that we can always come down the price. You don't need to
No.
because you're in the range. Right? Other people think, well, I'll just go outside the range and come down. Again, that's month after month after month where they get caught holding on to the house, waiting for that to occur. And the next one is we paid more for my house, and unfortunately, there are some people right now that are upside down.
Well, that's not us.
Fortunately, you're not, but there are people out there that are that way. And then obstacles to proper pricing. We've got incompetent agents who will accept any listing at any price. And that is an obstacle to proper pricing because they won't tell you the truth and they won't hold it to the line. See, I've given you every piece of information that I possibly can.
That's all the listings and all the
That's
sales?
all the sales, not the listings. That's all the sales that have closed in the last 90 days.
Okay.
And there aren't a bunch of them. There's only about 12 of them. In your price range in the 5-mile area. Because it's a tough market out there.
Yes.
What we're going to talk about in a minute is getting yours in the top 7% of the market.
So this isn't what's out there being listed.
No.
This is what has
They
actually
sold, and you're pricing yourself in that range, okay? I'm glad you asked that. That's a great question. neighbors who mislead the seller on how much they got for the house,
Frank will tell me.
right. Well, you probably saw the flyer, you pulled it out, $275, right? Well, you didn't get $275, here's Frank's house, he was the one that came in at $248.
I'm going to talk to Frank.
Okay, fear of making a mistake, that's another obstacle. I think you feel very comfortable with the decisions you made. Loss of perspective because the seller is emotionally involved. You seem to have gotten beyond that, Kimberly. You seem to be okay with letting the house go. And of course, greed, and you don't seem to have that.
No, that's not.
There are people who greed will get in the
That's
way, and that's not an issue at all. Now, overpricing, let me tell you what happens if that occurs. It will reduce the sales associate activity. The reason is, you've shopped. I don't need to look at that one, that's overpriced. Right? Don't show me that one, agent, because that is. Another thing it does is it reduces marketing response. Well, I can advertise all you want, but if you've already done the research in the marketplace and you know what the value is, you're not going to look at it no matter how much I market it, right? That's what I like about this partnership relationship. I feel very comfortable about what we're doing. Loss of interested buyers. Well, maybe they'll come down. Well, I think we'll go buy something else. Time wears out, right? And so they were interested, but you never got it down to a price range where they trigger an offer. See the difference on the triggering point I was talking about? And then look down here. It attracts the wrong prospect sometimes. It's been on the market 6 months. Man, I know they're desperate. Guess what?
Yes.
You get that little ball offer coming in, And then down here, it eliminates offers altogether. They must need $20,000 out of the house. I hope they get it, but I'm not going to pay it. And it also helps sell the competition. And this is wonderful what you've done. If you had gone up an extra $10,000, put it on the market for $265 or $270, guess what?
The street would sell.
Yeah, the agents would show yours first, and they'd make the others more attractive. Fortunately, you didn't do that, in your decision. And of course, it extends the marketing time. Anytime it's overpriced, it just takes forever. So, you guys have made the right decision. I just want to reinforce that you have made the right decision, okay, in what you've done. Now, this is the appraiser and a CMA. The appraiser does not consider current sales, whereas mine showed you those that were on the market competing against yours too. Okay, but the appraiser will only give you the closed sales. Now, this is where we need to work together. This market prep is very important. Matter of fact, I've got a pad over here, and what we're going to do in just a minute is we're going to get up and walk through the house, and Kimberly and Bill, what I want you to do is on that pad write down everything you need to do to stage the house. All right, now I'm going to review the rooms one at a time here as we talk about that, and then we're going to get up and go look at the rooms. All right, now in the kitchen, we want to be sure that everything is clean. If we can get the appliances look like they were just put in last week, that would be wonderful. The floor is waxed, a fresh grout or caulk if necessary in the area. Bright light bulbs, and if you can, bake some cookies and have the odor in the house too when we have this.
If we need to replace the grout, do you have anybody that can do that or help us
I can
with
give you
that?
a list of 3 names of
Okay.
people that do that in the marketplace. You pick the one you want.
Great.
I won't steer you, but I'll give you the names of people that do that. Bedrooms. It's talking about the bedrooms, and of course the beds are always made, clothes put away, and so on. So you can read through this, but we'll go through the room and we'll inspect the room to be sure that have you ever looked at a new house? Have you noticed how they put the special furniture in it?
Oh, yeah.
There's no dresser.
They really make the rooms look big, but they really stage it well. This is what we're talking about. We want your house to be staged like new construction. And the reason is that we want the buyer to think that they're buying new construction, even though this house is how old?
Well, this house we bought it and it was 2 years, so it's
6 years old. Okay, all right. So it's 6 years old. It's not new construction. You want to make it look like new construction. Okay. And then we'll take a look at the living room. Here's some items here that we're going to go through. We're going to make sure the carpet's clean. Matter of fact, if the carpet is marginal, I'm suggesting that you...
It's the original carpet.
Yes.
All right. We need to talk about trading it out.
We've already talked about it.
Now, people have talked about getting a carpet allowance. I'm going to say don't do that. Don't give the buyer a carpet allowance. Change it out. See, they can't visualize fresh carpet in the house. All right?
Understood.
So what they would do, they would negotiate the price down, knowing that they got to change the carpet. I'd rather have you get a deal putting the carpet in, go to Lowe's, it's on sale, get a deal, and then it's in, it smells fresh, looks like it's never been walked on.
Right.
That's a real strong selling point. So if you guys have talked about the carpet, that fits it. But you get my idea. Okay, the next room we're going to look at are all the closets. We're going to be sure that matter of fact, if we need to take some stuff out of the closets and store it somewhere, we'll do that.
I wish.
We need to do that because you want to make it look like, oh man, this is perfect. And then of course the bathrooms, we want to be sure that they're dressed up properly, fresh soap, fresh towels, the whole nine, maybe even a new shower curtain. But we'll get there, we'll take a look. I haven't seen it yet. Mechanical, we gotta be sure everything's in top working order. We don't want somebody come in and turn something on and it doesn't work.
Right.
Well, do we need to do an inspection ourselves, hire an inspector first?
No, I think we can do that ourselves.
Okay.
Even with electrical and...
Yeah, that's easy. You can tell me if a plug doesn't work. You've been around plugging stuff in long enough.
Oh, sure, I know it.
All right, garage,
Yeah.
we've got some oil drips probably on the cars.
Mhm.
Probably need to be sure that that's taken out so the garage floor, the concrete looks fresh, okay? Little things like that, mean so much. And of course, the outdoors, you said it's well landscaped, probably they ought to be just fine, but we'll walk through it just to be sure everything's okay. May need a shot of nitrogen, just to bring the green up a little bit. But we'll look at that, all right? And then when the property's shown, we want to be sure that all the lights are on, and I'm going to ask you to leave the property when it's shown. Is that okay?
I thought you wanted us there to answer questions.
No. No. I prefer that you be on the property.
Why?
Walking through, gee, the drapes look nice.
Well,
And you
you'll
say,
always be...
oh, do you like the drapes? Yes, well, they're my grandmother's drapes. We've got to take them with us.
I see.
And I'd rather have them say, let me find out if the drapes stay with the house. If you're really interested in that much, we can certainly put that in the agreement. It's better for me to find out what the needs are and to find out whether or not you're willing to do that, to have you chit-chat with the people, and all of a sudden you say something, and it dampens that relationship. And I just don't want that, okay?
Sure.
So let's,
As long as
if you don't mind.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Yes.
Yeah, no problem about that. And, no music or TV being on. And do you all have any pets?
Yes.
What kind?
Dogs. 2 dogs.
In the house?
Yes.
Okay.
On the bed at night? Oh, yeah.
All right, we need we're going to work through that. That's going to be a tough one.
Yeah.
Do you have some friends that might take care of the dogs while we're marketing the property?
We do.
Yes.
Yeah.
You
We
know
understand. I have been in a house where there were pets, and
Yeah.
and you got to watch out.
Well, you
for
made the
that.
great decision on the carpet being changed out because it's going to smell like the dog. That is great that you're going to do that. We may consider the whole house on the carpet to the freshness, and maybe if the dogs can stay with some friends, that'd be good. Wash the bedspread.
Linens.
Yeah, so that's it. All right. And then the final touches, just to be sure that everything is just right, we'll look at that. And then we're set to go. By the way, I'd be honored to go to work for you now. Would you consider hiring me to market your house?
Well,
What's,
I don't know. Maybe you want.
we should talk.
Okay.
Well, I can step out for a minute if you'd like to.
No, we were thinking maybe we could get back to you next week.
I thought you said you need to get out of the house in a hurry.
Well, we
The
did.
longer the time it takes to make a decision, that's just time that you're waiting to get started.
That's true.
And if you want to get started, it's going to take a few days to get these things done when we do the tour. We're not going to start marking the house till you're ready. So if you take a week, that's a week we've waited. Now, if you wait a week to say yeah, and then we wait another week to get the things done, that's 2 weeks. Now, there's $900 is gone, monthly payment, and taxes and insurance and electricity.
Well, if we've got people that, frankly, we have another agent that was going to come by tomorrow.
Listen, if you feel uncomfortable about that, I'd be happy to make the call and tell them that you've decided to do business with me, and it'll take the burden off of you.
That would take the burden off of us, and
Yeah.
we need to get this marketed.
I certainly don't want you to be in an embarrassing position. I'd be happy to make the call and just let her know, and I probably know her anyway, and I can help smooth it over. And besides, she may find a buyer down the road and buy the house, help you with the buyer anyway.
Nobody has really done their homework like you have. Obviously, you're a professional. And it shows.
Sit down and go over the pros and the cons and things that we need to do has been so important. You brought a lot of insight into things that we really hadn't thought of.
You okay with that?
What do you
Yes,
think?
I am.
Think it'll be all right? Well, great. Why don't I get the paperwork out, and we'll go ahead and work through this. It'll only take a few minutes.
Okay.
Sound right?
Yeah.
Great, we'll do that
Would
then.
you like iced tea or anything?
I'd love some.
Okay.
Matter of fact,
We'll do that
we'll do that when we're walking around
Okay.
doing the
This is going to
checklist.
be great.
Thank you, Bill. Kimberly, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Yes.